today I remembered I was I saw an article on Forbes magazine. So I saw one thing that made me remember another thing that made me connect to another thing. You know how the mind works. Anyway, I remembered an incident that happened when I was very young. I was probably 11 or 12, just guessing, but I was pretty young. And it was something that involved involved my Nigerian mom. I'm Nigerian. My mom and my immediate elder sister, who was probably she was 3 years older than me, so I guess she was maybe 13 or 14 at that time. And my mom, we grew up struggling, and my mom isn't, just to lay the background, my mom isn't formally educated. Um, but she was complaining about my immediate elder sister. Her name is Joy. Hi, Joy. And Joy had the habit back then of always coming home late, right? She would come home late after playing with her best friend. I think her name was Fina, something Fina. Crazy thinking about it now. But she'd always come home late every single evening. School weekend, school week, it didn't matter. Joy always came home late. And my mom was always going at her and screaming and whatever. But on this very particular day or particular night, my mom said nothing, and all she did was mutter a saying that I've never heard before. you know I think what she said was, no, I know what she said was a proverb. She said, seldom step into your neighbor's house too often, or else they'll despise your welcome. Now, again, my mom is not formally educated. So my 12-year-old self was thinking, like, Mom, did you come up with this by yourself? Of course, you can't speak back to your Nigerian or your African parents. If I ever did, you'd probably be watching my wake keep by now. Because Nigerian parents, even if you go to sleep and you dream that you insulted them, you better wake up and apologize. And even at that, they will still beat you and say something like, "My enemies have won. How dare you tag up with my enemy and dream about insulting me in your dreams," or whatever that is. But anyway, my mom said this thing, and I was very curious. I've never heard her say such a statement, and in the King James English, seldom step into your neighbor's house too often, or else they'll despise your welcome. So a little while later, when I knew that she had, her temper had, calmed a bit, and I asked her what was that thing that she said. And she said it was a proverb of King Solomon, the Jewish King Solomon, the famous, wealthiest man, wisest man in the world. And, you know, and then she got me to start reading the book of Proverbs, and I took it. There was an old Bible lying down somewhere, so I took it and I kept reading. Of course, I didn't really understand what it was saying, but there was something that I read that made me remember today when I was reading this Forbes article. And there was something I read back then which I didn't understand, but it says a lazy hunter does not roast what he took in hunting, but diligence is a man's best possession. Of course, I didn't understand what that meant. A lazy hunter does not roast what he took in hunting, but diligence is a man's best possession. Now, the second part is easy to understand. Diligence is a man's best possession, but a lazy hunter does not roast what he took in hunting. Because even at 12, I knew that hunters are not lazy. So the phrase lazy hunter is already an oxymoron. It doesn't make sense, because hunting, first of all, requires patience. You have to be very patient while you wait for the animal or the game you want to hunt. Hunting requires focus. You can focus on one animal at a time. A hunter can't chase two animals at the same time. So hunting requires what? Patience, requires focus, and it requires a lot of effort chasing this one thing, kind of like your 9 to 5. Focus on one payroll, on one thing and all that. So I knew that didn't make sense. But a lazy hunter does not roast what he took in hunting. Okay. It was years later that I understood what that meant, that roasting meant conversion. In other words, a lazy hunter does not convert what he took in hunting. Now, how does that apply to my Forbes article? I was reading that Elon Musk, love him or hate him, is the world's richest man, is worth, as of today, December 19th, 2024, he's worth about $460 billion, $456 billion. His net worth went down by 7 billion, but give or take $460 billion. And I remember um, an article I read, I think he was being interviewed, and he said, because he made his first millions from selling his majority of his stake. Well, PayPal was being sold, and he was a major shareholder in PayPal, I think, yeah. And he made $180 million. And then he famously said, Elon Musk famously said, from the $180 million I made from the sales of PayPal, I put 100 million in SpaceX, 70 million in Tesla, and 10 million in Solar City, and I had to borrow money for rent. Today he's worth 460 billion from those companies. What does that mean? He took his earning and converted it into reinvestment. Hence what King Solomon was trying to say in Proverbs: a lazy hunter does not roast what he took in hunting. We all make money. Every single person on earth, even the people on welfare, make money. But what's the difference between this people and these other people? It's the conversion. So my question to you is, are you converting what you took in hunting? Because 9 to 5 right now feels like hunting. You remember the hunter. He can only focus on one thing. You have to be patient to wait for your payday, 2 weeks or a month if you work in Africa. You have to be patient. You have to be focused, and you have to put in all that effort to get your paycheck, and then you blow it on frivolities or bills, and you do not convert what you took in hunting. Because the truth about it is, it's in that conversions it is in that conversion that you grow wealth. Warren Buffett famously said, and this is harsh, he said, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. That is one of the harshest, fiercest truth out there. So, like King Solomon says, if you don't roast in what you took in hunting, you will work for the rest of your life trying to make money, or hoping that your 401k or your pension or whatever it is takes care of you. So it stuck with me for forever. So that with every pay that I get, with every money I make, I always try to, put in back into the future, reinvest in books, reinvest in a business, reinvest in an online, whatever it is, reinvest in one of my startups, you understand? Because that is the future. So remember that a lazy man, according to the richest man who has ever lived, King Solomon, worth 2.3 trillion by current estimates, $1 trillion, says that a lazy hunter is the person who does not convert what he went out to hunt, because it's your money. It's crazy how we can survive after taxes. The government takes the money first and we survive with the rest. But we don't think it is diligent to convert some of those earnings that we get into the future. There are so many online businesses right now there. You can start up anything from anywhere today. What are you converting? Are you getting it and letting other things? Because it's crazy, because most people have one source of income, but the expenditure goes 15 different ways. There's rent, there's light bill, there's phone bill, there's car bill, there's we find a way to make everything work except the conversion that is supposed to guarantee us a better future. And in today's world, there is no excuse. Absolutely no excuse. So think about this and sit down and plan. If you haven't, I'm sure you have, but no matter, the wealthiest people till today still work like they haven't made a dollar. They are always looking for a place to reinvest. I was listening to Warren Buffett, and what he said essentially was that, not in this direct words, but it's harder to find places where he can invest his money in today. They have to be so diligent. They have to check the management, the product, the balance sheet, and whatever it is. The other day, I was also listening to Bill Gates when he was talking about how he gives money to charity, and it's a lot of work to get the money, but it's a lot of work to even give it out, because you have to verify if this money is actually doing what it's sent to do. So it makes no sense to get an income, spread it, expend it in 15 different ways, but not have a place or a part that is converted to a better future, converted into growth, not just savings, because inflation eats up the money. So I hope this makes sense. I thought to put it out there before I lose my train of thought, or go into something else, as I'm still working, it's still morning. So a lazy man does not roast what he took in hunting, but diligence is a man's best possession. I think it's Proverbs 12:27. All right, take care. God bless.